order and we will take a roll call. Let's go around the room, starting with Harry.
Harry Bill,
Nicole Birdie.
Manuel Cordero.
Lisa Dinnerman, legal counsel.
Robert Azar, staff.
Cheyenne Mantricardi, staff.
And I am Michael Gazdaco, chair. We have some meeting minutes. Hopefully you all received them in advance of this meeting and reviewed them for accuracy. We'll start out with the June 28th meeting. Do you want to do it all in one motion?
Yeah,
Okay.
unless there are any changes or corrections.
All right, so we have meeting minutes from June 28th, July 19th, and August 16th. Hoping that everyone had them reviewed, and I didn't see anything of concern. I thought everything looked appropriate. So if there is a motion, we can do them all at once.
I'd like to make a motion to approve 3 months of Troyon's extraordinarily excellent minutes, June 28th, July 19th, August 16th.
Wonderful. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
A second from Nicole. All right, we'll just take a voice vote, yay or nay. All
Aye.
To
Aye.
approve, aye.
Aye.
Aye, the ayes have it. Director's report. Do we have one this month?
Just briefly, as you can tell, two changes about this month's meeting, the date and the location. That's because there's the Board of Canvassers has taken over our meeting room downstairs for early voting. That will also affect our October meeting, which is going to have to be on the 11th. So make a note of that, please. The October meeting will be on the 11th. The September meeting will be the regular schedule, which will be on the 20th, and it will be downstairs. That's it.
Okay, thank you, Bob. With that, we will roll right into the first case. We start off with a minor subdivision, case number 22-039MI. It's 175 to 177 Webster Avenue. And you're going to be teeing this one up for us?
Sure. I'll provide a quick introduction. So this is a request to subdivide a lot that measures 10,000 square feet into 2 lots of 5,000 square feet in the R3 zone. And the intent is to create a lot that would allow for development of a second 3-family on the newly created lot. And the applicant's surveyor is here if you'd like to ask him any questions, but as you can see, based on the plan, it conforms to zoning.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here who would like to add anything on behalf of the applicant?
Yes. Could you introduce yourself, state your name and what your relationship is to this application?
My name is Nabil Rashid. I'm the surveyor who did this plan. The owner of our state, he couldn't make it today, so I'm going to be representing him on this meeting.
Great. Is there anything that you wanted to provide other than what Choyan just shared with us?
Well, this is only a minor subdivision that's at some point was a 2 separate lots and they merged in the past. Now they're gonna re-subdivide again. So as you see on the plan, we try to make it meet all the requirements before we go before the zoning board or variances. So we get the 6 feet on the setbacks. We have to do a jogging a little bit on the property line to meet that requirements. So we could get 5,000 square feet each for each lot.
And just to be clear, Mr. Chair, this subdivision as depicted does not need to go before the zoning board.
No.
For any variances. It does meet the required setbacks, and as the representative stated, there is a little jog in the property line, basically to reflect the existing dwelling and to make sure that they have enough lot width, the 50-foot lot width, which is measured at the front setback, and also the lot area of 5,000 square feet, and the pervious and impervious surface coverage. So we've kind of gone through this in detail with the applicant and made sure that it's a fully compliant
subdivision. So this little jog, basically, they're able to maintain the existing buildings and they can meet all of the requirements.
That's correct.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for the applicant before we hear the staff report? Let's let the record show that Noel Sanchez has arrived for this meeting.
Mr. Sanchez, you shouldn't vote because you weren't present for the entire presentation. So just this one out.
Seeing no questions from our fellow commissioners, we'll hear the staff report and we'll open it up to public comment.
And commissioners, this subdivision will result in lots that conform to the medium density residential development land use pattern of the future land use map of the comprehensive plan. As discussed, this will comply with zoning ordinance, providing lots, setbacks, as well as conditions that are in conformance with the ordinance. We don't foresee negative environmental impact. There are no constraints to impact development, and vehicular and pedestrian access will be provided from Webster Street and Sterling Ave. So based on that, we would recommend that you vote to approve the preliminary plan with the conditions that the validity of the preliminary plan be extended from 1 year from the date of reporting of the approval letter, that final plan approval will be delegated to the DBD staff.
Thank you, Choi. With that, this is a public hearing. We will open it up to public comment. If there is anyone joining us in the virtual world, please press your virtual hand at this time, raise it, and if you're calling in, press *9 on your telephone. Is there anyone here in the room speaking on this matter who'd like to say anything? Seeing none, we'll go to the online panelists.
Nobody is raising their hand online.
Okay. And with that, we will close the public comment portion of this agenda item. Commissioners, this seems pretty cut and dry.
I make a motion. It does seem cut and dry, and I'm glad to see the house being built. Yeah, I make a motion to approve 22-039 MI minor subdivision.
With the recommendations outlined in the staff report.
Yeah, with the recommendation. Excellent staff report.
We have a,
Based on what we heard today, I will second that.
thank you. All right, we have a motion by Harry, a second by Nicole. Let's go around in the room. Noel will be recusing himself.
Aye.
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Just to note, that's not a recusal on the merits, it's an abstention.
Abstention, excuse me, sorry, abstention. Abstaining. It seems that we have a special surprise guest. So before we move on to agenda item number 2, Mayor, welcome.
Hey, so good afternoon, everyone. I just wanted to pop in. I know how you all, you work so hard, you give up of your time, so much energy that goes into this. You review all of the proposals really thoroughly. And I just wanted to take a moment to come here and personally thank you. As you know, I have about 4 months left in office. We are not winding down. If anything, we're still revving up. There's so much in the works and in the pipeline. So, this isn't goodbye. But since it is towards the end of the term, I wanted to take this opportunity to come by and just let you know how much I appreciate you. You all are professional. You all are, you believe in the mission. You are invested in our community. Exactly what we need, running these commissions. The last thing that I'll say is that, our city could not run without, folks like you stepping up and doing this work. So thank you very much for being an important part of the work that we do here in the city. And I hope that as you drive, walk, bike, whatever around, you feel proud of what you see around you, because you're a big part of it. So thank you.
Thank you.
That's what we adjourn.
I don't think it can get any better than that. Yeah.
So I was gonna bring keys to the city for everyone, but
Oh,
you
no,
know,
we'll stay for that.
they're expensive, you know, we're still having, you know, financial stuff. No, I just wanted to say thank you once again. It really means a lot to me and I appreciate you stepping up.
Thank you,
I'll
Mayor.
let you carry on your business. I know you got important work to do, but yeah, I'm here and I'm not going anywhere for 4 months at least.
I will. Okay.
All right. Well, it's not every day that you get thanked. And Christian Potter has arrived, so now we have everyone we expected this evening. And we will open up agenda item number 2, which is a development plan review, case number 2022-10 DPR for 135 Prairie Avenue, the applicant Community Prep.
And commissioners, real quick, you may have seen previous iterations of this development coming before us. And the applicant is here to amend the development plan for their school. And the case in question here involves a building that they're proposing to build in the northern portion of campus, which will involve the merger of certain lots in order to accommodate the development. This is expected to be a building used for performing arts as well as a gymnasium. And in requesting this development, the applicant is also requesting design waivers for locating multiple buildings on a lot, as well as for the width of a driveway. And the applicants are here and they can walk us through the project.
Great, thank you. Please take it away.
Okay, Kathy Bartels, architect with LLB Architects. Have with us today Dan Corley, head of school of Community Prep School, and Mark Hollis, who is with Dupree Engineering. So basically, in terms of what the proposal is, the school has been in this block for over 30 years, close to 40 years. And over time has been able to acquire some additional lots in the block. What we would like to do is take the north portion of the site, which is abutted by Tanner Street, Pearl, and Prairie Avenue, and build a new arts and athletic center. So basically a gymnasium auditorium. In order to do that, we're proposing to merge 4 of the 5 lots. So the lot that the school is currently on would remain, and it's got the field and the parking lot. It was the subject of, it actually came before this board in 2015, where we were able to close a portion of Somerset Street, move the parking, build the field. So the school was able to have a field for the first time in its existence. Now we're proceeding forward with the Arts and Athletic Center, taking the 4 lots that they own and merging those. There are 2 lots in the block that they don't own, which are the 2 houses. So those are not part of the campus. So the 4 lots are proposed to be merged. The new Arts and Athletic Center is about 11,000 square feet. It has a gymnasium, so basketball court, middle school size. It's able to accommodate 700, approximately 700 when there are performances or all school gatherings. There is a stage at one end. Additionally, there's a lobby and restrooms that front on Tanner Street. So basically the entrance of the building is on Tanner Street. We're not proposing with this project to increase parking. There is the parking lot that is part of the campus, and we're not required to, at least in terms of the number of staff, it's not actually increasing the school population. It's still the same number of students, same number of classrooms. We've done the pervious and impervious calculations. We believe we're all in compliance with that. And the only 2 waivers we need, I believe, are the curb cuts. We're proposing that one of the curb cuts. In fact, I think there are 4 existing curb cuts. We're proposing that one of them remain and be extended to be 24 feet wide so that we can accommodate the bus parking.
Where is that?
Yeah,
Is that?
thank you. And the other design waiver is the multiple buildings on a lot.
Does that conclude your presentation?
I think so. There are, I think in the package were renderings and explanations of the proposed materials. The height is within the zoning height.
Thank you very much. I'm going to kick it over to Manuel to start because I have a feeling you have questions. But it's open up to the commissioners to ask questions of the applicant before we get into the staff report.
Well, I will kick us off, but actually from maybe a different perspective than expected. The question of the curve cuts got me to thinking a little bit about the connection between this new addition and the existing campus. Can you talk a little bit about how students will be moving between the two? And I guess the curb cut brings up the issue of the combination or distinction between pedestrian traffic and vehicle traffic, and how are you keeping students safe in those transitions?
I think on the landscape plan is the indication of basically an interior walkway from the school to the gymnasium. Take me a minute to find it, but it is an L. Well, if you're able to find LA one, you will see, it's not the entire site, but you see a pathway that is basically leading from the school. So it's basically interior to community preps property. There is a door where that pathway leads, and it is presumed that the teachers will be using that door for students to come in and out.
Thank you. And this is the included, that pathway is included in the scope of what's being proposed. So
Yes.
Other commissioners, do you have any questions of the applicant while they're here? Bob Azer?
I just, not a question, I just wanted to make a comment that the biggest challenge that we had when we were reviewing this was to make sure that it conforms with all the dimensional regulations of the residential zone. We allow for school campuses to be in residential zones, but they still have to follow all the standard rules, including setback, maximum pervious versus impervious surface, lot coverage, building height, and so forth. And so, you know, as you can see, the footprint of this is relatively large. It's really a one-story building, but it's tall for a one-story building because of the nature of its use. It's also pretty bulky in terms of where it sits on the lot and relative to the lot lines. But we worked with them to make sure that they maintained all the appropriate setbacks. And by merging the lots as they're proposing, keeping two separate lots for the various components of the campus, they were able to come into compliance. And so I give the architecture and engineering team a lot of credit for working diligently on this.
So for this application, it looks like you're demolishing one house and then the other two next door to it, where it's sort of an L, those are remaining, the Providence Housing Authority and then the one next to it.
That's correct.
Any other questions from the commissioners before we hear a staff report?
I mean, this is not a question, it's more a comment, but I do also appreciate the landscape plan. We just reviewed maybe a couple months ago an institutional plan for an institution not far from this. And one of the things that I brought up at that time was this question of landscape and the power and impact that landscape can have. And also thinking about the way in which people move between buildings. And this is addressing both of those things. So I'm just excited and encouraged that this is happening, and that this is happening in that same neighborhood, so that there is a case study and a model for others to follow.
Yeah, there's the planting schedule is robust. It looks like a well done job. Thank you. So I guess with that, we'll let any of the other commissioners pipe in. We'll hear the staff report from Troy on.
I just had an observation or question on both the street sides that are not going to be the entrances, Prairie Avenue and Pearl Street. Especially on Pearl Street side, which would be the north elevation. There's no, well, that's kind of far away from the building, from the street, but there's no windows. There's one exit door. And I just wonder how that affects the traffic of people around that corner that's close to the hospital. People walk by there, it's kind of like put up two walls or isolate the corner from pedestrian traffic.
We do have some windows on the Prairie Avenue side, so it's not windowless.
Are those doors or windows? Sorry.
The doors with glass in them. There's a window at the end of it. So we do have some. We have some trees. We are looking at potentially banners, but we haven't sort of sorted that out yet in terms of if that would be, you know, something they could do. On the north side, yes, it's there is high clerestory windows, but down at the that sort of pedestrian scale, there are not many windows because it's the backstage area is the volume. So we went wild with colors on that side because we couldn't do windows on that side. And, we're sort of carrying that. It was sort of the idea of the multicultural, Technicolor Dream Coat. It was sort of a whole kind of artsy thing related to that. And expressing the school's multicultural student population.
Yes, it is. It's difficult. It's a challenge when you have 3 streets that
Right.
you're designing around and you want to communicate with the existing campus. I think overall you've done a great job in that. And again, the landscaping I think will help along Pearl Street. Help keep it not feel like a blank wall.
And I think the landscape doesn't sound isolated, feels isolated from the rest of the street.
Fair enough. Okay, Choyan, would you like to read the staff report?
Sure. And commissioners, as discussed, you are allowed to have educational facilities in residential zones by right. And also, as we talked about, the applicant meets the dimensional requirements for siting of a building in this area. And while we do not have design guidelines for residential zones, we do find that the applicant's design complements the neighborhood. And as far as the design waivers go, we would recommend that you grant the design waiver for having multiple buildings on a lot, as that is characteristic of educational institutions. And we would also recommend that you grant the design waiver for the width of the curb cut, noting that the applicant will be closing 3 of the 4 curb cuts that currently exist on the site and replacing them with pervious surface. And also the curb cut that the applicant is requesting, the width will be used to accommodate bus parking, which is also integral to the operation of the school. And this addition is not expected to affect parking, with which the applicant is in compliance. We should note that the landscaping will greatly exceed what is required and will be planted on campus based on the plan. And also, the applicant will be demolishing the building on 124 Pearl Street and is disclosed that as required for institutional master plans. And so based on that, we would recommend that you approve this plan, finding that it's in conformance with section 12 of the zoning ordinance. And subject to the conditions that you grant the dimensional waivers from location of more than 1 principal building on site, a waiver to allow for a curb cut of 24 feet, and that the applicant merge the subject lots prior to applying for permits.
Thank you, Choyan. Okay, this is a public meeting, so we will open this agenda item up to public comment at this time. If you're joining us in the virtual world, please raise your virtual hand or press *9 if you're calling in. If you're here in person, I believe we have a sign-in sheet and it's down there. Just sign in there and we'll call you up. Sit back down there.
That's okay. My name is Carla DiStefano. I was not here for this, but I'm the executive director of SWAP and a longtime neighbor of Community Prep. And we own a lot of property in the area surrounding the school and have been talking to Dan about all the improvements to this property in the school for like way too many years, probably 25. They are a fabulous neighbor. Their buildings, everything that they do is supportive of the neighborhood, supportive of the kids, and they are a fabulous neighbor. So since I was here, I just wanted to give that thumbs up. And thank you for persevering. Thank you.
We do appreciate when neighbors pop in and say nice things about applicants. We wish it would happen more often. Is there anyone else here in person or in our virtual world who would like to speak on this matter?
Not seeing anyone online.
Okay, so based on that, we will close the public comment portion of this agenda item. And we will move to deliberation. I think this is a robust proposal, and I think they did a marvelous job meeting all the requirements. The design waivers are, in my opinion, very small compared to the size of this project. And I do recommend the applicant on their work. The architects and engineers did a lot to get to this point, I think. So I'd be in favor of the motion. I don't know, what does everyone else here feel?
I feel the same. I'm in favor of a motion, but I don't want to speak too soon.
Give everyone a chance to chime in. Christian, do you have any?
I mean, I have nothing but great things to say. I was at the second community prep graduation in '89. It was at the YMCA building. My sister was the first, the second, both my sisters in that second class. And I believe my nephew was the first, second generation's community prep graduate. And now at PCD, I teach a ton of community prep graduates. So I'm excited to see that they'll be coming more prepared and from a even better campus when they come to see us. So congratulations, Dan. And I know this has been a long time coming. I'm ready. I'm ready to.
Good. Manuel, do you have anything to add on this?
Just excited. I know community prep from a distance, but have always admired their work on such a small footprint. So it is exciting that you're seeing this and that it is to support your program, which is really exciting. And I think again, I commend you on thinking about the campus. And I hope as you continue to think about the future of this, you continue to think about how students move between those buildings, because it's both critically important for their experience and their connection to the world, but also you have to think about security and all the things that you think about as educators. So I encourage you to continue to do it as thoughtfully as you have. Thank you.
Harry?
No, I think it's really good. I guess it's good for them to expand. I'm always a little intrigued by whether or not, especially after Chris mentioned graduation at the YMCA, I'm always a little wonder why it's necessary for every single school to have its own gymnasium. But that's beyond the scope of this argument. So I agree with what's been said. It's wonderful to see a good school getting better. Thank you.
All right, Noel?
So my only comment would be the same one I already made about wanting to make sure that that north corner of Prairie Avenue doesn't get isolated from human traffic. So human pedestrian, human scale. On a human scale, yes. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
But based on the testimony that we heard today and the staff report, I would make a motion to approve the development plan review subject to the noted findings and the conditions.
Wonderful. We have a motion by Nicole. Do we have a second?
Second.
He pointed to you. All right, so we have a second by. All right, Chris made the second. So I'll go around the room and give your vote. Noel? Aye. Aye. Harry? Nicole?
Aye.
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 And I vote aye. Congratulations and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Chair, yeah, I'm going to, just for those who are online, I'm going to shut Zoom off and then restart it momentarily simply because we seem to have a little glitch happening. Okay, with the meeting controls, but I don't need more than 2 minutes.
Then we'll take a 2-minute break.
Pull the kids out.